Hi guys, I'm reporting from Kentucky. It's freezing and the ice is totally took over the world here. So I think it's a good day to work on my tractor because if the power goes away, then I need a way to generate electricity. So I got a nice generator which attaches to my tractor, but my tractor is a diesel tractor from the 70s without a glow plug. So I need a way to heat up that engine before it's actually gonna decide to start. So now we are inside the garage. This is my 1960 DeSoto. You may have seen it before. And that's the family truckster. Over there is a 124 Fiat Spider. It's a new one. It's waiting for the spring. And the mighty Trabant. And under the two bicycles, here is the generator. I already moved it here in case we need it. But the tractor won't start unless I install that warmer, pre-warmer for it. So it actually runs the PTO, runs this drive shaft, and then in turn there is a gear reduction system on it, and then a pretty powerful generator which we can plug in to the same plug where the electric car is plugged in, that 220 outlet over there. And then we can turn off the basically the main breaker, and then it will power the whole house. If you don't turn off the main breaker, then the whole neighborhood gonna be powered, and I don't think it's gonna do that. But nonetheless, let's go and see the tractor. So here is my nice John Deere 401B. It's like a mid-70s diesel tractor, non-turbo, and I guess John Deere engineers didn't think that you want to start this tractor when it's cold, for a good reason. I don't want to start it either, but if we need to generate electricity, then we need it. So I need to heat it up somehow because there are no glow plugs in this tractor. Also, if you see the engine block, there are no block heaters either. So there is nowhere to put that plug heater. So I had to come and do another direction, go to another direction. I got this one. I guess it was on eBay. Tried to buy it at Napa, but they had to order it and it was just too difficult. So here's the unit itself, and it plugs into 110 volts, and then it's gonna heat up the coolant in it. So the whole block gonna feel like it's middle of summer. It's gonna hopefully start right up. So I gotta find a place to put it. So the freeze plugs on an engine block serve a purpose to get the casting sand out in the manufacturing process. So I don't know how John Deere did it, but this one doesn't have any. So I can't put that freeze plug heater in like on normal cars you could. So I need to find a location for the water to circulate. So here's the drain valve, that would be one of them. And up here in the thermostat housing and water pump, that would be another one. So I'm most likely, I think I'm gonna screw that one out and let the water down. So first thing first, I'm gonna have to find something to collect the coolant in it, and then I'm gonna let the drain plug out, and then probably gonna bring a hose and drain it first. That's gonna be the first step. So the first problem I run into is that this valve is all plugged up. So even though I open it up, it's just not doing anything. So I'm just gonna cut it off here and unscrew it with a impact socket. So we'll see how it happens, but I had to cut it off. Looks like the operation was successful. So I can let the water out of it. Just got to regulate how much water I let out, so it will end up in this bucket. So it looks like it's peeing very nicely. Yellow tractor peeing green liquid. Perfect. So here's this unit. So it looks like there's no moving parts in it. If you look at this, it sucks the water in, or the water is in there, and it heats it up with the heating element, and it starts circulating on its own with a thermosiphon system, just like the Model T cooling system. There is no water pump in the Model T either, unless someone installs an aftermarket, but let's just not go there. So anyhow, it will be full of coolant. You must not plug it in empty. So you gotta make sure that you ram the tractor or your car, and then it's filled up with water. And then, just like a boiler at home in a house, you're not supposed to run it empty. So the next thing, now that it's peeing, very nicely losing all the coolant, the next thing to do is to open this. Then I'm gonna analyze, maybe I have a fitting where I can fit these hoses on. And I think it came with one fitting, but I don't think I have another one. So I think they were thinking I'm gonna have a heater line to put in, but I don't have that. So looks like there is one in there. So I need to come up with another one, and then some rubber hose. So I ran into the problem where this plug was way too tight for me, for my little wrench, so I had to put this adjustable wrench on with a already bent jack lift. So run into the next problem. This bolt was way too tight, so I had to use this adjustable wrench and use the handle of this floor jack, which is already bent, but it did the trick, and now it's opened. And this piece, what came in the kit, works really well, so I just need to come up with one more. So the next thing I need to do is to figure out how to mount the whole unit to this hole here. So it looks like it's all dirty, so we're gonna clean it out. I found other holes on the side which has more of a clean place, so I found out that this bolt is fits there, so most likely it's gonna be the same size, although it's a little loose, but should be fine. So I'm just gonna clean this thread out, and then that's where we're gonna mount the unit. So I just came back from Napa and I found this nice little piece. Actually, that was at the Royal King. It's a really nice little sort of like Tractor Supply. They sell all kind of stuff. And this hose in Napa, it's like a heater hose. It was hanging up on the wall. That's the number if anybody wants it. I'm only gonna use this part. I'm gonna cut it here, and not gonna use that part. Maybe I use it, actually probably I'm gonna cut it here and then use this part at the other end. And then I got one of these nice bolts what I'm gonna use to install the whole thing. So I drilled a hole in it, just it's the wrong hole. I think I need to drill this one out bigger or larger so that big bolt will go through. So as you guys see, like I all dressed up, it's like, it's really freezing here. So I had to get my open cockpit biplane hat on for the project. So here's the deal. I'm gonna go some very basic knowledge, which may not everybody knows. So if I'm doing this, I might as well show it to you. So this is called a Teflon tape. You can buy it at Home Depot or Lowe's at the plumbing aisle. And this one is a thread which actually looks a little bit like this. So as it goes in, it will stuck inside the, this is a pipe thread. So it will get stuck inside as you screw it in. So when you put this thing on, you hold it with one finger, you actually pull on it so the threads will become visible, and try not to get it spin around, and then you pull on it and that's it. So this is the right way. So if you do this with your fingers, then it's actually, you're gonna push it on. If it goes the other way, then it would come off when you actually screw it on. So if I would do it the other direction, that would not be good, because then as you screw it in, it will actually take it off. So make sure when the end finishes, it's actually there, so when you screw it in, that will actually follow the thread and not going against it. I hope you understood what I'm trying to show here. It's a very basic thing, but this is the one we're going on the side of the block, and that's where the hose will go in. That's the intake hose for the heater. So I think it's done. So I attached all the hoses. Looks like it's upright. You can see the arrow pointing towards the up. So the heat will rise and it's gonna start going up. It's gonna clear the throttle rod and it end up in the water pump all the way up at the front. And then hopefully it will start the circulation. So it's the bottom of the engine water jacket, and pretty much next to the thermostat housing, or I would say the water pump. So what we really need to do is to circulate the liquid, you know, between there to warm up the block. Whatever happens in the radiator, we don't care. That doesn't matter to us. So next thing is I'm gonna put the coolant back in. And when I put the coolant back in, I'm gonna use one of these filters. It's like a painter's filter, what you get for filtering car or automotive paints. And I got my funnel. You gotta be careful on this one because you have the fuel here and they painted it red. I think I better repaint it. And then I got the original John Deere radiator cap next to it. So I'm gonna fill it up with water and see what happens. So I put all the coolant in it, whatever came out. And if you look at the filter, it did find some dirt in it, what came out or just went in. So I wanted to make sure that whatever goes back in there is clean. And since we're here, I like to emphasize on that I always using 50-50 distilled water and coolant mix. or already mixed 50-50 coolant, because they mix it with distilled water. Tap water is not a good idea to put in any kind of machinery, because tap water will develop little rocks inside, and it will clog up the radiator. Straight tap water is also not a good idea, because the anti-freeze coolant will help you. It's got a rust inhibitor in it, so the inside of the engine block will not rust up. Also lubricates some parts, and the mixture will boil at a higher temperature. So the mixture will not going to start boiling at 100 degrees Celsius. It's going to be a little bit higher. Also, the pressurized system will help that as well. But I always put 50-50 mixture in every one of my vehicles except my Trabant, because the Trabant is an air-cooled 2-cylinder, 2-stroke engine. Does not require coolant. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is the safety for the tractors. You would feel the urge to just, hey, let's just try it. And then you reach in with your hand and you start cranking it. Don't do that. You need to sit up on the seat when you start a tractor. So I need to take care of my loose tools at first, take this trash away, and then make sure I'm sitting up there. If you stand in front of the wheel and you start the tractor, and let's say it starts, and let's say it's accidentally in gear, which is not possible on this one, but let's say on another one is, and it's in gear, this wheel will drive through you, and it's very unpleasant. I'll tell you that much. It hasn't happened to me, but I heard other people went through that. Don't do it. Sit on the seat and then start the tractor, or just don't even mess with it. So I'm gonna put away my tools. I'm gonna bring a little bit more coolant, because I think I could put a little bit more in it. And once it's running and comes up to an operating temperature, it will push out whatever it doesn't need. But until then, I'm gonna fill it up, make sure it's all full, and then we're gonna try to run it before we're gonna try to warm it up, because I wanna make sure that that unit, what we just put on, it actually has water in it and it's submerged in coolant and there's no air bubbles in it, because otherwise it would burn up right away. So clean up, start up. Let's see what happens. Well, let's see if it starts. The lights are on. There's no glow plug. See if some smoke comes out on the stacks. Yeah, that's barely any, so poor battery is kind of tired. So let's try to hook it up, see what happens with that warmer. So there is a valid question when you ask, let's say there's no power and you need to start this. How are you gonna warm up the engine using the 110 volts? Because there's no power coming out from the outlet. Well, here's the answer. I found this one at Costco. I don't know how good that is, but apparently there is a 110 outlet on it. So this one is a jumper box. So we'll try to plug that in here and see what happens. See if it actually works. Well, it's still pretty cold. The sun is going down. I gave up. So the whole thing is installed. It's most likely would work, but that little power supply is not doing its job. It's only rated for 200 watts and I need 1200. So it's probably not going to work. If you have any better idea how to do this, please leave me a comment, and I'm going to figure this out one way or another. But for now, that's it. Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.